So we're going to do a little bit of a review game over 6.1 through 6.6 to help you for your test. So this is asking us to find the percent of change as an increase or a decrease. Guys, is this going to, what's the formula for this? Okay, what does AOC stand for? Amount of change over the original amount. So in order to find the amount of change, here we see we had 120 meals. Now we only have 52 meals, okay? So the amount of change is going to be your biggest number, 120 minus 52 over the original amount. The original amount is always going to be the first amount that was there. How many of you have this part right so far? Okay, what's 120 minus 52, guys?
68.
Okay, so then you've got 68 divided by 120. When you get that, what do you get?
1.56 repeating.
Okay, so here's where a lot of people really struggled on their quiz yesterday. If you look at this, what you have to do before doing anything else, move this over 2 places, and now you're left with 56.6 repeating. If you remember, the tenths place, because this right here says round to the nearest tenth, is always this first number after the decimal. So it's going to ask the number next to it, are you 5 or bigger? What does that 6 say? Yes. So all of these go away, but what happens to this 6? It gets 1 bigger. It becomes a 7. So 56.7%. And then it asks you to find whether it's an increase or a decrease. If I had 120 meals and now I have 52, did my number of meals decrease or increase? Decrease. They decreased because I don't have as many meals now. So the final answer is 56.7% decrease. Question number 2 asks us to use the percent proportion to solve. This is the main thing people messed up on their quiz. They didn't understand the difference between the percent proportion and the percent equation. Guys, if you remember, a proportion is 2 fractions that equal each other. So what is the percent proportion?
Is over L equals P over L.
Okay, so this is the method. That's the way that I want you to do. Quite a few people tried to do P times F equals is, okay? So you would get partial credit for it, but if you want to earn all the credit, you need to start off with is over of equals P over 100 for the percent proportion. Now we're going to just kind of separate. That's my is, this is my P, and that's my of. Now as I'm plugging them in, 40 over 32 equals P over 100. What's the best way for me to find this answer, guys? All right, so we're going to do cross products. We've got 40 times 100 equals 32p. What's 40 times 100? 4,000. Then our whole goal here is to get p by itself. How do I do that? Divide by 32 on both sides. When you do that, what do you get? Okay, 125%. Once again, I am looking to make sure that you are showing me that work. Because it says to use the percent proportion, I want to see you showing that work. All right, the next question asks, what's the percent of change formula? Guys, what is it?
AOC over original.
Okay, it's the amount of change, that's kind of your clue right there, over the original amount. Please make sure you know your formulas for your test tomorrow. Number 3, the first thing I'm looking for is, did you use the percent equation? Guys, what's the percent equation?
P times of equals is.
P times of equals is. Then always remember, underline and circle to help you find it. P times 50 equals 18. Get rid of that 50 by dividing. What do you get when you do this? 0.36. What do I have to do with that? Okay, very good. So the correct answer was 36%. Once again, a lot of people lost points because they forgot to put the percent, okay? Make sure, if you go back through and the question asks you what percent, make sure your answer comes out as a percent. Okay, so basically you went to the store, there was something you wanted, it was $150, but you see a discount. Are we happy or sad when there's a discount? We're happy because you get to pay less money, okay? If we see here that you're going to get 15% off, what total do you have to pay? What percentage? 85%. So when using the formula P times of equals is, you're going to change this right here to the percentage you have to pay, which is 85%, 0.85 as a decimal, multiplied by the original price. When you do that, this will automatically give you your answer. This is what a lot of people got for their answer. Can anyone explain to me what's wrong with that?
It has to be 50 cents.
You have to have two numbers after the decimal point, okay? So what number should go there? 0, okay? A lot of people on their quiz yesterday forgot two numbers after a decimal point, okay? So make sure you've got that for me. The answer is $127.50. All right, so for this one, we're still finding the selling price, but it's a little different because we're looking for it to be a markup. If something is marked up, is the price going up or down? It's going to go up, okay? So same idea, P times of equals is. The difference is now, with a markup, you use the given percent. Okay, we wrote that down in our notes when we talked about this. 0.25 times what the cost to the store was. What's the markup here, guys? Okay. Quite a few people boxed that in as their correct answer, but that's the markup. If you notice on your quizzes, I would have circled something like this, find the selling price, okay? So instead, you've got to take what the cost to the store was plus what the markup was. When you do that, what's the answer? $62.50. Once again, if people box this in, and you lost points for that, for your quiz corrections tonight, not only do you need to mark in, yes, that there should have been a 0 there, you have to rewrite the original problem, you still have to show all the work, and then give the correct answer, okay? So when doing quiz corrections, please make sure you have to redo the whole thing, even if you only missed one little teeny tiny point. All right, for this one, we're trying to find the time. What is the formula that we're going to use for this? All right, so we're going to use this here in just a sec. I equals P times R times T. What's my interest? $60. What's my principal?
$400.
What's my rate?
5%.
Turn to a decimal, it's 0.05. And we're looking, oh, sorry. That was supposed to be a question mark. We're looking for that, okay? So once again, let me come over here to show you what I saw a lot on yesterday's quiz. Do we know the interest? Yes. It's right here. Okay, we labeled it over there. We know the interest. So watch what I'm doing. This is symbolic of erasing the I for interest and plugging in $60. Notice the equal sign needs to stay there. Okay. Next up, do I know my principal?
Yes.
So I'm going to erase it. What is the principal?
$400.
Okay. Do I know my rate?
Yes.
What is it? Okay, so I erase that, and I'm going to plug this in. Do I know my T?
No.
I do not. So here's the next thing people are messing up on. They are forgetting to leave the T or the variable there. That's the whole way that you solve it, is by having that there. Okay, so please make sure you keep the variable that you don't know there. All right, so I've got to solve this. I'm going to multiply those two things together. The $60 drops down. What's 400 times 0.05?
3.75.
20, and then drop down the T. You want to get rid of that 20, so you're dividing by 20. What do you get? 3 years. Please make sure you always put your units, okay? It's going to tell you up here what it's looking for. This is looking for the amount of time, so don't say 3% or $3. It's 3 years. So as you're doing it, this one now is asking you for the rate. Still, you want to make sure that you plug in what the I, P, R, and T are, and then you're going to go ahead and put it over here into your formula. What's my interest?
$17.
What's my principal?
$500.
What's the rate?
No.
What's the time?
2 years.
Very good. Now, once again, I'm plugging in. My I is $17. My principal was $500. We don't know the rate, so the R stays, and then multiply it times 2. On the right-hand side, you can see that I can multiply together the 500 and the 2 to get 1,000 R. You want to divide it by 1,000 on both sides. When you do this, R equals, and some people just left their answer like this and boxed it in. What's wrong with that, guys? A rate will always come out as a percent, so you need to turn that over there, so your final answer would be what? 1.7%. All right, so this is a question you want to know. What unit should the time be in when finding simple interest? What are the units, guys? It is years, okay? Not months, not days or hours, but it is always in years. So a store pays $95 for AirPods. What's the selling price when the markup is 36%? Should my answer be bigger or smaller than $95? It needs to be bigger because keyword markup. Remember, P times F equals is what we're using, but just take the markup percentage that was given to us, 0.36, and multiply it times the cost to the store. What do you get?
$34.20.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Wait,
$129.20. Okay, yes. Now what he was saying, guys, is that actual markup, we were trying to get ahead of ourselves, is, $34.20, okay? So that is our markup, and then you take that markup and you add the cost to the store, which was $95. Then, what is our final answer, guys? Very good. I was trying to go too fast, apparently. This problem says, of the 25 students on the field trip, 16 of them bring cameras. What percentage of the students bring cameras? Here's what I want you to remember as you're doing this. Is will always be your part. Of will always be your whole. That should help you get the correct answer. For a problem like this, you can use percent equation or percent proportion. I'm going to go ahead and just use the equation. This is 25 students and 16 students. Which one is the part that bring the cameras? 16. So since is my part, then 16 is my is. Okay, so that's going to get plugged in there. Of is my whole. There were a total of 25 students who went on the field trip. Okay, a lot of people on their quiz had a hard time telling the difference between the part or the whole. All right, and then when you do that, you've got to remember to turn that into a percent. So 64% of the students brought a camera. Final question today. You estimate that there are 68 marbles in a jar. The actual amount of marbles is 60 marbles. Find the percent error and round to the nearest whole percent. Please go ahead and start off with the percent error formula. Guys, what's the percent error formula?
Amount of error
over actual number.
Okay, a lot of people on their quiz wrote over the original amount. It is not the original amount. It is the actual amount. Okay, so they thought there would be 68, but there were actually 60. So the actual amount is 60. 8 over 60 equals 0.13 repeating. Remember, now we have to change this over here to 13.33333%, but it asks me round to the nearest whole percent. So you're going to take your whole number, ask your neighbor, are you 5 or bigger? What's he say? No. No, so the correct answer is 13%. All right, I hope that this review game has helped you today. Don't forget tomorrow you've got a test over Chapter 6, so please, please, please study for your test tomorrow.